Welcome tonight to another session of real stories and true healing. Relax and listen. And don't forget to drop your sincere comments and advice in the comments section. They say when you marry someone, you marry your best friend, your biggest support, your partner for life. But what happens when that partner slowly becomes a stranger? What happens when you're surrounded by walls, toys, responsibilities, and yet you feel alone? We didn't start this way. David and I fell in love fast. He had kind eyes and a laugh that made people turn around. He was sweet, always called me his girl. We would talk for hours, take long walks, have quiet coffee dates, enjoy late-night drives with music playing soft. He made me feel seen, wanted, loved. When he asked me to marry him, it wasn't in some crowded restaurant or with a hidden camera. It was something better, something real. One night, we were alone by the beach. The noise of the partying crowd in the tent behind us felt far away, like it belonged to another world. We were wrapped in the sound of the waves crashing and the quiet stillness of the night. With a funny smile on his face, like he was hiding a secret he couldn't wait to tell, he took my hand and pulled me closer. His palm was warm. His heartbeat felt strong through his fingers. The wind brushed my hair across my cheeks, and he gently tucked it behind my ear. He looked at me with those soft eyes, the same eyes that made me feel safe, even on my worst days. The moonlight danced on the water, and the stars above us seemed to listen in, holding their breath. He cleared his throat, but his voice was steady. He said, "You are my peace. You are the one I want to laugh with when we're old and gray. I want to wake up next to you for the rest of my life." Then he dropped to one knee, right there in the sand. I gasped. My hands flew to my face. He pulled out a small box and opened it. Inside was a silver ring, simple and shining. My eyes filled with tears. "Will you marry me?" he asked. I couldn't even speak at first. I just nodded, over and over, my whole body shaking with joy. I flung my arms around his neck. When I finally found my voice, I whispered, "Yes, yes." He stood, slipped the ring onto my finger, and held me tight. The sound of the sea roared around us, but in that moment, it felt like the whole world had gone still. It was just him and me. Our wedding was small, just family and a few friends, but my heart was full. He kissed my hand before we cut the cake. He danced with me in the kitchen that night, with his tie around his head and bare feet on the floor. I laughed until I cried. We were happy. I was sure of it. Then came Lily, our first baby, a girl with big eyes and a loud cry. I held her in my arms and felt a love I didn't know was possible. The first few weeks were hard. No sleep, no time, but we were a team. Or at least I thought we were. Before you know it, little by little, things changed. I still remember the day David got the call. We were sitting on the couch, both of us in our pajamas, and we were kind of halfway through a movie when his phone rang. He looked at the screen, stood up fast, and walked toward the window. His voice was calm at first. Then later, I heard him chuckle. When he hung up, he turned to me, eyes wide, face glowing. "I got it," he said. "I got the job." For a second, I just blinked. Then I jumped off the couch and ran to him. We laughed, we danced in the middle of the living room like two crazy kids. No music, just joy. I cupped his face and kissed him hard. "I'm so proud of you," I whispered against his lips. He grinned and picked me up. "I couldn't have done it without you." We ordered pizza, poured 2 glasses of wine. Lily was still asleep. The afternoon sun poured into the room, warm and golden. We toasted to new beginnings, to answered prayers, to dreams coming true. After dinner, we went upstairs. I don't remember who kissed who first. It didn't matter. Everything felt alive. His hands on my back, my mouth on his neck, both of us held in locked embrace by the wall. I instinctively moved closer, deepening the kiss, so clearly desperate to feel more of him. He enveloped me in his arms, exploring my body slowly, moving his hands from my hips to my breasts. I broke the kiss as I gasped at his touches, throwing my head back as he pinched my nipples. I continued moaning as I buried my face in his shoulder, kissing the exposed flesh of his neck, nibbling and sucking hungrily. I could feel him growing harder against my bare thighs. I broke the kiss, biting my lip in a smirk as I fell to my knees before him. He could feel the warmth of my breath against his shaft as I seductively licked the pre-cum from his shaft, moaning at the enthralling taste of him. Chuckling, I teased him, slowly licking along the length of his shaft before placing gentle kisses against his tip. Drops of pre-cum oozed out of him as he groaned. My lips, my tongue, my mouth, it all felt so effing good. He couldn't restrain himself anymore. The pressure from the teasing had left me so sensitive that it took only few thrusts before I reached climax, crying out as he held me close and continued to ride me. I came around his shaft with so much cream and wetness, our sweat and juices merging. David could feel the moment that my orgasm ruptured to cloud 9, my honeypot throbbing around his shaft. I was shaking, threatening to push him over the edge. He managed to restrain himself, barely, gasping for breath as my body clung to him. I screamed in pleasure at finally being won, digging my nails into his back as he pounded me against the wall, hard. I moaned freely, getting what I had so desperately craved. Instinct took over as I clawed into him, deep enough to leave a mark. I needed to feel him closer, harder, now. Shuddering as my body throbbed around his shaft, draining him of cum. David cried out, practically screaming my name as he came to. We both moaned out at the sudden, intense feeling and orgasm. I collapsed on top of him, we both panting as we caught our breath. Exhausted and dazed, we stumbled into the bedroom, collapsing onto the bed together. It wasn't just about sex. It was closeness, love, celebration. It felt like we were one again. That night, I held him as he slept, his hand resting on my waist. My heart was full. Everything felt right. Back then, we still had us. Little by little, things changed. David started working into late hours of the night, always telling me how tired he was, said he needed space. I told myself it was normal. New parents get stressed, but it didn't stop. He stopped helping with the diapers, the late night feedings, the bottles, the baths. I was doing it all, alone, just me. When I asked him, he'd say, "You're just better at it," or "I had a long day, can't you handle it?" So I did. I handled it. The sleepless nights hit me harder than I expected. David would help, sometimes, but more often, I'd turn to his side of the bed and find it empty. He'd be on the couch, phone in hand, telling me he had work stress, that he needed mental space. I tried to understand. I tried to be strong. But day by day, I started carrying more. My days became one long cycle. Wake up, feed the kids, clean, cook, change diapers, wipe tears, answer questions, tidy up toys, do laundry, try to smile. Same cycle, round and round and round. Sometimes I'd look at the clock and realize I hadn't eaten or spoken to an adult all day. I'd wake up, feed Lily, change her, try to soothe her colic. I was exhausted. I asked David to help. He said, "You're better with her than I am. You're the mom." Same story every other day. And just like that, it became my job. By the time our second child, Noah, arrived, I was already used to doing things alone. The midnight feedings, the preschool drop-offs, the grocery shopping, the bills, the cleaning, all while holding a baby in one hand and wiping cereal off the floor with the other. I would see David walk through the door at 9 p.m., toss his bag on the chair, and go straight to the TV. "Dinner?" I would ask. "I'm not hungry," he would mumble in reply. No kiss, no "how was your day?" Just silence. One day, I planned something special. It had been months since we did anything as a couple. I arranged for my sister to watch the kids. I cooked his favorite meal, barbecue chicken with succotash. I lit candles, wore that red nightie he used to love. He walked in, saw the setup, and frowned. "What's all this?" he asked. "I just thought maybe we could have dinner, just us." He sighed. "Ella, I had a long day. Can't we do this another time?" "But when, David? When is the right time?" "I don't know," he said, brushing past me, heading to the shower. The candles flickered and went out. My loneliness is becoming a source of worry every day. Sometimes I'd cry quietly while folding laundry, other times in the shower so no one would hear. I missed my husband. I missed me, the woman who used to laugh at silly things, the woman who dreamed. Instead, I had become an invisible machine, a mom, a wife, but not a woman. One night, I found an old photo of us, him kissing my forehead at the beach, both of us glowing. I stared at it for an hour, wondering where that version of us had gone. I tried to fix things. I suggested counseling. He said we didn't need it. I asked for date nights. He said he was tired. I suggested we go on a weekend trip. He said he couldn't take time off. I begged for conversations. He said I was too emotional. I wrote him a letter, poured my heart into it. He saw it and never talked about it. I started questioning myself. Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I nag. Maybe I changed. But then, one afternoon, I watched my son fall and scrape his knee. As I ran to him, kissed his tears, cleaned his wound, and held him tight, I realized I hadn't changed. I had just grown into a mother, a protector, a warrior of everyday battles. But I didn't have a partner on the field. There were small moments that hurt in big ways. The school called once. Noah had a fever. I called David, panicked, hoping he could leave work early. He said, "Can't you handle it?" Handle it? Like I was some employee in his company. Like I was a machine with no breaking point. Like I hadn't been handling it all every single day. Even the bedroom became quiet, empty. Another night, I reached out, kissed him, hoping for some intimacy. Not just sex, connection. He sighed and turned away. I lay there, staring at the ceiling, heart cracked wide open. How do you feel more alone, lying next to someone, than you ever did sleeping by yourself? I missed being touched. Not just physically. I missed being noticed. I missed the way he used to pull me close in the middle of the night. The way he used to whisper, "I love you," against my cheek. Now, his back stayed turned, his breath slow and even. I kept staring at the ceiling and cried without sound, so he wouldn't wake up, so I wouldn't have to explain. People see us on Facebook and say we're a perfect family. The smiling holiday pictures, the matching outfits. But they don't see the nights I cried holding a baby while he slept soundly. They don't see the silence at dinner, or the heavy weight in my chest that I carry alone. They don't know that I walk into a room and feel invisible, that sometimes I whisper into the darkness, "Can anyone see me?" The worst part? He's not a bad man. He works hard, he pays bills, he doesn't cheat, he doesn't hurt me. But he doesn't see me either. And somehow, that hurts more. I'm not angry. I'm just tired. Tired of giving and not receiving. Tired of planning birthdays and buying gifts and making lists and scheduling checkups and keeping the house running. Tired of doing it all with someone who doesn't see that I'm drowning. And yet, I love him. Somewhere in that shell, I believe the man I fell in love with still exists. I see flickers of him when he plays with the kids for a few minutes, when he accidentally laughs at one of my jokes, when he falls asleep with his hand lightly brushing mine. It gives me hope. But hope is not enough to carry a marriage. Last week, I tried to kiss him. I leaned in while he sat on the couch. He pulled away. "Not now," he said, eyes still on the screen. I sat down beside him, but I never felt further away. Sometimes I wonder, if I were to leave for a week, would he even notice all that I do? Would he finally see me? Or would he just complain that the fridge is empty? I love my children deeply. They are my light, my joy, my reason for living. But being a mother shouldn't mean losing yourself completely. Being a wife shouldn't feel like being a shadow. I don't want a perfect life. I just want a partner, someone to share the hard stuff with and laugh through the silly stuff. Someone who doesn't just live in the house with me, but actually live life with me. I'm not asking for roses or grand gestures, just help, a hug, a shared look that says, "I see you, I'm with you." I just want to feel loved again, wanted, seen. I love him. I love the man he used to be, the man I believe still lives somewhere inside him. And so here I am, wearing my wedding ring, smiling for the neighbors, tucking in 2 beautiful children, and sitting alone in a quiet living room while the man I married sleeps in another room, behind a wall, both real and invisible. I don't want to walk away, but I don't want to keep walking alone either. So tonight, I pour my heart into these words, and I ask the question I've been holding inside for too long. What should I do?